recording live video.
All right. Hi, guys.
Hi, Facebook. It's Friday.
Woo! Yay, Friday! So we have a lot to talk about tonight. Probably more news than segment-wise. You might have heard of this this little disturbance in the Atlantic called Irma. So we'll talk a little bit about that and policies and how it might affect your vacation. We are going to do our normal share thing. Ben's handling some of that for me here, so and Amy's back.
I don't have the
You
headphones.
shared already?
I shared.
Wow. What did we do with the headphones?
I don't know. I took them out for the
Okay.
other
Well,
video.
Anyway, well,
Shh, it's a secret.
there's a different video next week. You'll let Ben's know. So anyway, if somebody could just tell us if you can't hear us, that'd be great. Wait, you couldn't hear that if you can't. Oh, jeez.
They'll tell us if there's no sound. It'll be okay.
So,
Working without a net here. Working without a net.
Sharing is caring.
All right.
Posted. Hey, I can hear us. That's amazing.
So I'll be
So
monitoring
Ben's
comments.
going to figure out how to do that so we can still see comments and not have extra sounds.
Right.
So tonight we are going to be talking about Halloween on the high seas in a minute, but we have a couple other things to cover.
Yes.
So, first,
I didn't look at the news. I got home 30 minutes ago.
besides seeing all of us here every week, well, some of us anyway, because obviously the whole agency doesn't participate right now, but besides seeing us here, we have a couple of events coming up, actually 3 in October.
Yes.
So we want to let you know where you can find us. On Saturday, October 7th, Becky, who's not here, she's missing. I don't see her. Becky and I will be at North Carroll Middle School at Fall Fest from 9 to 3. So you can come visit us there. I don't really know what a Fall Fest is. I haven't been there yet. So, I mean, I know what a Fall Fest is in general, but I'm assuming generally like, pumpkin sort of activities and maybe some crafts, bobbing for apples, trick-or-treating. I don't really know, but
Apples?
come down and check it out. Yeah, come check it out.
Oh.
Saturday, 7th, 9 to 3. There's probably some sort of admission fee. I don't know what it is. But
It's probably for her school, so
yeah,
that's okay.
yeah. Becky's running it, so she's got it's her gig. I'm just helping her out with we're doing setup and stuff. So Anyway, you can see us there. Second, we have our branch office opening in Hanover. It's actually technically, I guess, sort of open now, but the furniture's not getting rearranged till tomorrow morning, so don't stop in yet. But we are going to have a grand opening there on October 14th. That'll be a stop by anytime between 9 and 1. The parking lot at our location is a little on the small side. However, there is a very large church parking lot across the street. There's also some street parking available around the corner. So there are a couple options. You just might have to walk a little bit farther if the parking lot's crowded.
What's the address there again?
It's 207 3rd Street in Hanover. So,
Hello to
Pennsylvania, not New
Howard,
Hampshire.
Howard, Dee, Jeff, and Vicky.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
And then our next fun thing that's coming up, we are participating in Halloween at the park, Halloween in the park at Cadorra State Park. That is a trick-or-treating event. And
They
Magic...
also have hay rides and...
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I've never been to that either, so these are all new things coming up on the horizon here. We're trying them out and see how they go, and we may become regular participants at some of these events. So
yeah, if you're not from the Hanover area, Hanover celebrates Halloween in a big way. So
yeah, for real. We are not doing the parade this year. Last year we did the Halloween parade, and this year with having 3 other events already scheduled in October, we decided that it was not in our best interest to try to cram a 4th one in and not do it as well as we'd like to. So we won't be participating in that this year, but possibly back next year. So we'll just kind of see how that goes. But Halloween in the park is from 6 to 8:30 on Friday, October 20th, and Saturday, October 21st. As you might have noticed, that overlaps our Facebook Friday time, so we will have a recorded post going up for you that week, just to make matters easier, because it is going to be dark at our campsite. We didn't want to try to record live out there with having trick-or-treaters, and it wouldn't have been fair to anybody, so we're going to do a recorded show. That'll either be Royal Caribbean or Carnival that week. I'm not sure which one's going up. And then the following week, Ben and I are at Disney. We're going to put up a recorded show that night also. We'll still be doing live video from the parks, but our regular Facebook Friday will be a recorded show that week. And we're doing that just so we can get the cruise line coverage in, so we can tell you a little bit about some of the other products that we also have available without necessarily making it a live show, because I think a lot of our viewing audience wouldn't really be interested in commenting and being with us on that. So
hi, Joan.
Or a lot of our live folks anyway.
Now,
so.
Are you guys going to try some live video while you're at Halloween in the park?
We're going to try, but we just didn't want to rely on it for
so
the So
keep an eye on the page on Friday night anyway, because you might see some familiar faces popping up.
The video will be
costume.
scheduled. The video will be scheduled to go live at 8, or not live, but it'll be posted at 8. But then we'll try to do some live stuff too for earlier that evening.
Yeah, because we weren't sure how the lighting was going to be, and maybe Wi-Fi.
Right. Yeah, Wi-Fi.
So
it's at the campground. We're in Loop D. I think our campsite is 149.
Oh,
9.
Nine.
7. 9. It's near the bathrooms in the D Loop.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's in a nice open clear area. You'll be able to spot us a mile away if you're going to the event. So the campground, I think, is a little bit tricky to find. I had to turn around twice last week when we were going out to find the site.
Are you serious?
But that's just me, because I'm like, when it comes to Cadoras, I'm like, I have 2 left feet. I can't figure out. I have like no idea how to do anything over there. So, so you're probably more well versed at getting around over there than I am. So. Anyway, that's it for agency news. Oh, and the next 2 Fridays we will not be live. We'll have that'll be 2 of our other cruise episodes. Next week is Norwegian. The following week will be Princess. You can check out our page for live video from Boston and whatever we can do while we're on our Royal Caribbean Serenade of the Seas cruise. So anyway, check that out if you're interested in cruising, and
you should.
Then we'll be, and then we'll be back with you 3 weeks from tonight with another topic. Oh gosh, what is it?
It's subject to change.
Oh, it's a tour.
Okay.
It's Magic Behind the Steam Trains tour.
Okay.
Will be our next live video. That'll be the 20 whatever that Friday is, 29th, I think.
Yeah, sure.
20 something. I think it's the 29th. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on with us. We're a little busy.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is enough.
Big news story tonight. Crappy news story tonight.
Yeah.
Really, really crappy news story. Friends in Florida, we are thinking about you. We don't wish we could be there with you, but we're there with you in spirit.
Stay safe.
Please stay safe. Please take the shelter you're supposed to take. Please move inland if you're supposed to. Just stay out of the way of where that storm surge is going to go. We've all been glued to the weather all week up here, watching for our friends, and of course, concern over our clients that are supposed to be traveling, and obviously when we travel to Florida a lot, we've made friends there, and friends who frequent the islands, friends who are going on cruises. So lots and lots of disruption going on this week with this nasty, ugly hurricane that's coming through. We do have we have a lot of closures, cancellations, and things that we want to highlight. And we also wanted to talk a little bit about the policies that have kind of been in force with this situation, and the fact that each hurricane type situation is evaluated differently by your vacation destinations. So we don't need to probably give you a recap of the weather, because the Weather Channel and National Hurricane Center have been doing a dandy job of that. But we want to talk about it specifically from the standpoint of what happens to your vacation if a hurricane is hitting where you're going, because it's not just Disney. It's anybody that's cruising on any line out of anywhere in the state of Florida. It could happen if you're cruising out of Baltimore.
Right.
I mean, you could be doing Baltimore, Bermuda, and get smacked. I mean, we're going out of New England next Friday, we're actually not cruising till Sunday. I was watching Irma with like, oh my God, okay, yeah, it's going to hit Florida. Florida, that's bad. I mean, it's terrible, but where's it going after that? Is it still going to be tropical in nature? Is it going to go up and hit Boston? What about Jose? Is it going to 1-2 punch, like hit New England? Because it's still possible to have tropical systems anywhere on the eastern seaboard. If you're leaving out of Galveston, Texas, obviously we just saw there with Houston. Was that just last week? Or has it been 2 yet? 2 weeks. It was last week, wasn't it? Anyway, it was recent. And there's no safe port to go out of. When you're talking Caribbean, I mean, you're talking islands that they're this big on the map. They're very vulnerable. Your itineraries may be changed, and it happens, unfortunately, for reasons other than hurricanes. I mean, even strong thunderstorms can change your itineraries in the Caribbean. So, that being said, shall we talk about it?
Sure.
What's happening? Start with Universal, because they're the smallest of the. Universal's closing tomorrow night at 7. So at that point, you would have to be out of the parks. The resorts, obviously, the hotels are remaining open. to serve the guests who are stuck there and can't get a flight out. They are hoping to reopen Tuesday morning. That was their latest statement. Of course, they'll have to assess and evaluate and see what happens.
And anything that is said tonight can definitely change once the storm actually hits.
Right.
Because nobody knows what's going to happen until it actually does happen.
Right. Even that cone of uncertainty that they're still showing, it could still actually, depending on where it hasn't made its turn yet, it could still track straight up the coast on the east side. It could track straight up the coast on the left side. There's still a very, very slim chance it could miss Florida altogether.
That'd be wonderful.
The eye wall. But, I mean, if it misses Florida, it's going to slam into South Carolina. So it's like, it's going to hit somebody. There's not really I don't know if there's a best case scenario for minimal damage. It's going to be bad no matter where it hits. Disney World. I have a 3-page list of cancellations and closures, but they're very, very specific. Disney World has been very, very specific about what's going to be offered. They came out with a statement about what your refund options are for a lot of their different products. First of all, the first things that they did was to close the water parks, which should probably be a no-brainer to everyone. I mean, you're not going to want to I guess in theory you're already wet, so what does it matter? But, let's be real. When this thing was looking like it was going to hit the Florida Peninsula, Disney was always going to close the parks. They were going to close all of them for at least a day, no matter what, once you saw that scenario start to play out. It was just kind of a matter of the timing. They waited to make the announcement because they didn't know when the storm was going to hit. They wanted to make sure it was actually going to continue to track that way because they don't want to say they're going to close, have people cancel vacations, and then end up opening because the hurricane completely misses them. Mm-hmm. So that's why the delayed response for a lot of these closures. ESPN's obviously they're going to be closing. Animal Kingdom is closing at 7 on Monday. Hollywood Studios at 7.
Monday?
Oh, sorry, Saturday. Sorry.
Till Monday.
Yeah, until Monday. Through Monday. They are not planning to open anything on Monday. Epcot is closing at 9. Magic Kingdom is closing at 9. So your latest option, if you want to be in a theme park until the last available minute, if you are stuck in Florida and are not going to be able to get home, Epcot and Magic Kingdom will be open till 9 on Saturday. I think the earliest forecasted winds are like 8 a.m. Sunday. So, I mean, Saturday night, everything should still be pretty calm. It should still be, it should still be decent to go to the parks. Not really have any struggles or any concerns about safety getting back to your resort. Obviously, if Disney had any concerns about that, they wouldn't be keeping the parks open that late. So that should be not really an issue. Disney Springs will also close at 9. So if you don't have a park ticket or you're at Universal and you're like, we're going to be trapped inside for 2 days, I want to do something, head over to Disney Springs after Universal closes and just kind of enjoy the last little bit of undamaged fun that you can get. They have things listed like the aerofoil balloon is not going to fly. Like
it barely flies as it is.
Exactly. The aerofoil balloon doesn't fly if there's like a gust of wind half an hour ago. Yeah. So like that's not really that surprising. But that was one of the first things that they canceled. It's like, okay, guys, that's kind of actually
we got it.
Right. It was funny. Night of Joy is canceled for tomorrow night. For tonight, the performances did take place as planned, and Mickey's Not So Scary on Sunday is canceled.
I thought there was more than that too.
It says the event will take place as planned on Thursday, but there should be a Tuesday night also.
Yeah, I felt like it was 2 of them.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tuesday night was canceled because honestly that party is not a lot of fun in the rain because the parade doesn't run, the fireworks don't go, and honestly that's about a third of what you're paying for with that ticket. So.
And actually, I thought that, and I don't know if you want to read them or not, but
the options.
The options were very generous given by Disney as what you can do with your canceled ticket. You can actually use it for an upcoming Mickey's Halloween, or Mickey's...
Well, either one.
Yeah, another Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party or a Christmas party, or you could actually trade it in for a one-day park hopper.
Wow.
Yeah, which I thought was great.
Which honestly, like if you have a ticket for Sunday night's party and you don't trade it in for a one-day park hopper, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Because that's like, what, $140 value or something?
It's great.
It's like crazy. Yeah. Like, you should definitely get a one-day park hopper.
Yeah. So I thought, or the other option would be to get a full refund for the ticket that you purchased.
Right.
But definitely if you...
Which, obviously, if you have to cancel your trip as a result of it, then that's probably the way that you're going to go. But.
Right. But the one-day park hopper, I thought that was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, because you could actually get, with it being a park hopper, there are nights when Magic Kingdom could be open as late as 11, and you might be able, if you're staying on site and can get a magic hour, you can get in as early as 8 a.m. So for a ticket that you've originally bought that was going to get you legitimately 5 hours of fun, sort of 8 hours of fun, like, you can now get a lot more hours of fun. So, like 15-ish hours of fun. So, I mean, that's really... Plus, you can do it at any park you want and do more than one park. So, I mean, yeah, you don't get the cool Halloween stuff, but go take a picture beside the pumpkins and get get the awesome ticket.
It's a great value.
Yeah. And that's it for Disney. Disney Cruise Line. Obviously a big concern because nobody wants to be on the ocean going to an island that was just devastated by a hurricane in a hurricane. Disney doesn't want to take their ships out in that garbage either. So DCL canceled... the September 2nd sailing of the Fantasy came back 2 days early in order to be able to disembark the passengers and get the ship back out to sea somewhere where the hurricane is not, so it can ride out the storm. And actually, this is one thing I thought that they really could have done, but maybe people couldn't get it together fast enough, was to, like, offer a hurricane cruise. Like, you've got to leave anyway. You've got to evacuate. Come on our boat. We'll take you out to sea. We've got to take the ship. We have to take the ship out anyway and get it away from the port because we can't leave it tied up at the dock with a hurricane coming through because it'll damage the ship and the ship is mobile. Why leave it where the storm's going to be? That doesn't make any sense. So I didn't understand. Maybe they didn't have enough time to react to do it, but dear cruise lines, like, do this next time. Think of all the people they could house on those boats.
And feed and have water.
Exactly. They're evacuating to places where they don't know if they're going to be able to get supplies, if they're going to get stuck there. I mean, it just seems like a good idea. Call me Disney. But anyway, the September 9th Fantasy sailing was canceled entirely. That would have been departing tomorrow. So obviously that would have been a bad idea. And the Dream for 9/8 and 9/11, so today's and Monday's sailings, were also canceled. The option there, if your cruise was canceled, you're receiving a refund plus a 25% discount on a future cruise. You do have a very short window. It has to be booked within the next month. And I don't know, we were talking about this earlier, we're not sure what the dates are. If there's a limit to when you have to use it by. Usually on a bounce back offer, you have 2 years. So my guess is that it's probably 2 years, but we haven't heard that for sure. So, Royal Caribbean also canceled several cruises. They canceled their the Majesty and the Enchantment. Majesty was sailing out of Port Canaveral, Enchantment out of Miami. They were both going to the Bahamas, and their Cuba, September 9th, Cuba on the Empress out of Miami. They're also doing refund plus a 25% discount. There are several. They had a bunch of ships that were shortening itineraries. At least the Oasis, the Harmony, and the Allure were all shortening. And their reservations will be offline because they're headquartered in South Florida. So their reservation system is planning to just go offline to weather out the storm. So if you're trying to reserve a Royal Caribbean cruise, just hang on a minute. We'll be able to get back up and running with them shortly. Not really clear if our online reservation system might still work, but you definitely will not be able to call in and do a reservation during that time. But that's okay. Call us anyway. Norwegian. By far I thought the most spectacular deal out there. The Escape and the Sky, which were both departing from Port of Miami, are not sailing. They were departing today and tomorrow. They are doing a refunded cruise fare plus a 50% discount incredible. On a future cruise. Fantastic. Yeah. For the people who were on the Cuban cruise that the itinerary was shortened, they're being prorated the days that they're missing. Anybody that shortened a cruise was prorating the cruise, so that was across the board. Mm-hmm. Plus, they're getting 25% off a future sailing. Plus, they had up to a $300 airfare credit per person for your flight changes.
Wow.
Norwegian definitely came out as the leader in the who treats me the best when things get crappy. So definitely tune into our show on Norwegian next week because you might be curious about them a little bit more. Yeah. So, Carnival, I didn't even see their policy, but they have like 20 bajillion ships in the Caribbean right now, and they're just floundering. At the moment they've got to be, because their ships are just all over the place. Yeah. They did cancel 4 of their cruises, the Victory, the Splendor, the Ecstasy, and the Liberty, which were all departing between today and Sunday. Presumably, I'm sure they're doing refunds, but their page was this much information with their what they're doing. And I didn't read it because I don't have anybody on Carnival right now, so I was like, it's a lot. Carnival's doing stuff. I will say, though, that Carnival, during Harvey, they were the best about letting people know what was going on. Whereas Royal was posting, I think their first message was, there's a hurricane. Check back for more details. Carnival was posting the exact location of their ship, what each ship was doing to get their passengers back into port, where they were stopping in lieu of coming back to Galveston, because there was just no way that they were docking in Galveston at that point. They were really, really on the ball with allowing people to find out where ships were going to be. So if, these are things that you should take into consideration. If you're going to sail in the fall of the year, it is hurricane season. It comes around every year. The actual calendar peak of hurricane season is September 9th. Just tomorrow, ironically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about timing.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, it's the peak for a reason. That's when the most powerful storms usually are coming through. If it's going to be a big season, it's when the most hurricanes are usually active, which we've got 3 right now. I mean, it's busy right now. September. There's a reason people don't travel in September besides the kids are back to school. It's uncertain. This year it bit us.
Yeah.
Happens sometimes. But anyway, I think that it's worth mentioning that if you're going to travel in the fall, and you're thinking about doing a cruise, book the cruise. It's okay. But remember, Norwegian's treating their cancellations really well. Carnival was really good with their information as far as where you were, so your family knows that you're safe and they know where your ship has been diverted to. My parents were on Royal, I think, last year during Matthew. During Hurricane Matthew.
Keep track of your parents' cruises?
I know, it's impossible. And it was funny because my grandmother watches too much news. And she calls every time they're on a cruise and anything is within 1,000 miles of where they're going to be. She wants to know if they're on the boat and if I've heard from them. And hi, Grandma, I'm sure you'll watch this at some point. The answer is always no, I haven't heard from them. They cannot call you from the boat. So when a line like Carnival says, hey, your family is going to New Orleans instead of Galveston, and you can check their website and you can say, oh, good, I know they're on a boat right now and I know there's a hurricane, their ship's supposed to be here and the hurricane's here, I know that they're safe. Right. So I think it's really nice to have a line that does reach out and does let you know all of the information, even if you have to sift through 8 pages of it to find your particular cruise. So.
And just a reminder that this is an overview. So check company websites, check their Twitter feeds, check their social media to get more updates and to verify all the information.
Right.
Yeah, because it changes very quickly. For example,
there's an 8 o'clock advisory that came out that we haven't seen yet, so we're not sure what that's going to happen.
And we were talking earlier tonight. I looked one time at 2 o'clock. Holly looked at 3 o'clock, and it was different. Right. So it was.
Yeah, it actually tracked to the west a little bit between the 2 o'clock advisory and the 5 o'clock advisory.
Yeah,
so we're not even sure. We can't even tell you right now for sure what's going on. The site I've been using, besides weather.com, because they're going to tell you what category it's supposed to be, where it's supposed to hit, and they have really good graphics over there and good video. But nhc.noaa.gov is where I go for hurricane information personally, because that's where the advisories actually come out of the National Hurricane Center. And there's no spin. There's no forecasting. You can actually just look at the data and kind of determine for yourself whether, okay, Weather Channel's been saying this, National Hurricane Center's been saying this, do they line up? Is the information that we're getting in the forecast matching what we've seen happen over the course of the last couple of days? And actually it is this time. Weather Channel has actually been not as sensationalist as usual. So thank you, Weather Channel. But that'll give you the updates, and they're updated every 3 hours. So if you are watching and you want to know what's going on, you've got friends there and you want to see what's getting, where the storm's at, when you can check to see if your friends are safe, if you're, see when you can check to see if your travel plans are going to be affected. all of that's at National Hurricane Center. So, have we exhausted?
Why don't we move on to some happier news?
Okay. So
let's just flip this over so we don't have to look at it anymore.
Well, I'll need another when we get to the segment. I'll need that because it's got the
stuff
on it. So, all right,
more news,
fun stuff.
Yeah, and this is the one item I'm sure you guys would like to talk about. It is the return to Sleepy Hollow.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's coming up.
You forgot about it.
We have to get through our one vacation before we get to the next vacation. I know that sounds like a spoiled problem, but yeah.
So many of you know the story of the legend of Sleepy Hollow with the Headless Horseman. But Return to Sleepy Hollow comes to Fort Wilderness, and which Holly and Ben will be visiting.
Yeah. And
from what I understand, because I didn't really know all the details, I guess
we don't really either. It's the first time they've ever done it, and they haven't done the first one yet. So
okay. So from what I gathered, they're showing the movie.
Right. They're showing the Wind in the Willows and the Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Yes.
Yep. And there's supposed to be a Headless Horseman meet and greet. So from what I've heard people saying that you're going to have to stand like really far away from the Headless Horseman, but no one's actually done it yet because the event doesn't start until like September 29th. So
yes.
I'm not really sure what kind of information they're going off of.
Well, then when I read even further, I thought, well, this is why I know Holly's going is because there's a special pin.
There's a pin.
Yes.
There's a pin involved.
There's a pin. Yeah. So there are two levels of seating. There's a preferred seating where you get a goodie bag and you get to sit up front, and then there's the standard seating. The preferred seating was $38 per person, and the standard seating was $25 per person. Here's the funny thing. This was sent out to us as travel agents this week, so that you can promote it to your clients and tell them blah 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 blah. Okay, right. I called in literally the first day that reservations were open, and there are two time frames. There's like an 8
and a 10,
8 and a 10, 8:15 and 10:15, something like that. So I booked for. I have to check. I don't even remember which one I booked, but I booked for one time. After I hung up, I thought about it a little bit. I was like, I think I'd actually prefer the other time. I called back in. Okay, it took me about 25 minutes to get through and get booked on the first time. It took me about 15 minutes to get through the second time. So this is 40 minutes into the time frame that this was available to book. There was no preferred seating available at the other time.
I believe it.
This is 180 days out for an event that hardly anybody knew about.
And was brand new.
I can't imagine if you call now that there's any availability in seating anymore whatsoever. But if you're interested in it, let us know.
We'll try for you.
Right. We'll give it a shot and see if we can get you into at least the $25 seating.
Yeah.
It's quite possible that only the super I'm a big Headless Horseman fan people called in and tried to get tickets the first day. So
well, I had my travel agent do it. I'm just saying.
And I was up calling at 7 o'clock in the morning for you. Because that's what we do. You cannot book this experience online. You do have to call. And it's under the Magical Extras collection. So it's the same place you call for Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. And it's under the sports menu option. It's like under the golf course option or something. It's in a really weird spot.
That's odd.
And, which is why it took me 20 minutes to get through the first time because I pushed the wrong number because... I went for, special events, and they were like, we don't have that. And I was like, well, it says on the website you do. And then people were like, yeah, this is the wrong... You have to pick the golf course option. I was like, what?
That's where the Headless Horseman goes.
In what universe does that make sense?
The Headless Horseman.
Now, are we also going to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique?
Did you want to go to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique? I have really bad news for you.
What?
You're too old.
Oh. Hi, Michaela.
So I try every year, trust me.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get your updo with your crown and your gown. I know, I'm sorry. Halloween will be ruined. You can go to the barbershop.
Yeah.
And you can get glitter.
You can do pirate makeover.
Yeah. Can we do pirate makeover?
I think you can do pirate, because I've seen mom, dad... son, daughter with pirate makeover.
That's exactly what I want. Something that blocks my skin in the humid Florida weather. That'll end well. I mean, it's lovely in Florida. You should go.
It is humid in the fall, though. It is for sure. So that's happening 10/29 through 9/2, which is a Friday through a Monday. Then it's Thursdays through Mondays every additional weekend until Halloween, and then there's one Halloween night.
10/29 through 9/2?
9/29 through 10/2.
Okay.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I was like, what?
Did I say 10?
I thought you did.
Yeah,
maybe I did. Okay. It's 2 against 1. I lose. It's documented now. Let's see. We've also got a Star Wars Galactic Night.
Yes.
Coming up. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know much about it, but Ben does.
Actually, I don't.
No, but none of us know anything about it.
This is the first I've heard about it.
We know that it is December the 16th from 7 p.m. to midnight
at Hollywood Studios.
At Hollywood Studios, after Hollywood Studios closes. So I'm guessing it's a different...
It's probably a hard ticket, I would think.
Yeah.
Which means, and I don't have... They didn't give a price for that.
We just got a quick, boom, here it is.
Yeah.
But it's the Saturday night after Star Wars premieres.
Episode 8. The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So Ben informed us of that. Yeah. So I was like, well, why is it just one day?
Hi, Dee. Oh, bye, Dee.
Is this the one with the space penguins?
Yes.
Okay.
The porgs.
Space penguins.
Yeah, they're space penguins.
Okay.
We have not seen another trailer for that yet. We only have the one so far, so waiting for that.
We're waiting for it.
It'll probably drop while we're on a cruise and I can't watch it.
Oh, I forgot to go to AT&T today. Still need to.
It's okay.
Okay.
And another fun thing at Hollywood Studios, and I forget the full name of it.
I didn't write it down.
It's another Christmas holiday.
It's not
event.
Osborne Lights.
No, nothing will be Osborne Lights.
It sounds... Table flip.
It's on Sunset Boulevard, and it leads down to the Tower of Terror.
It sounds like it might be like a miniature version. That won't be probably as good, but
I'll take it.
No, okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's something.
I love Christmas.
And maybe they'll surprise us. Yeah. And maybe it will start as a small thing. And grow.
That'd be wonderful. But I'm looking forward to that because I enjoy everything Christmas in Disney. Yeah. And it sounds like there's going to be snow again. Snow on Sunset Boulevard.
Sweet.
I can take it.
Yeah. So I don't know. We might go.
Oh, is that a thing that's happening now?
It might have been the tipping point for Thanksgiving.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we'll see.
Why don't you tell the entire world when we're out of town?
It's all right. Like 5 people watching.
Apparently they only tune in for the Hurricane Irma tragedy report, so...
Wow, guys. Wow.
I think we're losing Howard and Leah to top model, so...
What? Top model?
Do we need to make a runway here so that we stay
apparently
have our cards? 10.
What else do we have going on?
Well, if you're interested in traveling out to the left coast, Disneyland's having a sale, 20% off, between October 22nd and December 21st. Biggest reason to do that is they do some really cool, fun holiday stuff out there with their holiday overlays. Cool. Namely, their Haunted Mansion becomes the Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion.
Oh,
and they're doing the Cars Land thing this year for the first time.
They're actually doing a couple of really cool Halloween things this year with new and exciting stuff, which I don't really know all the details because it's the first year.
That sounds really cool.
That needs to be booked by November 14th. So 20% off. It's a good time to go. And also, the holidays at Disneyland, the Christmas holiday schedule was officially announced, and their Christmas season will run from November 10th through January 7th. So if you are available to travel the week of New Year's, and you're traveling to vacation and then home the following weekend, when airfare's cheaper to do it that way.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. You can still see Christmas at Disneyland by doing that.
That's awesome. I
think I should move my trip with Dad up. Make him go right after Christmas. Yeah. So
this isn't the Work Your Family Issues Out podcast.
No?
This is
okay, back on track. So our actual topic for tonight is Halloween on the high seas.
Whee!
Which those cruises have already started.
Yes, the Fantasy starts on September 2nd, actually.
Wow. So the Fantasy that just got cut short, they actually had their first Halloween on the High Seas cruise. Good news, because they got cut short, doesn't mean that they missed their Halloween on the High Seas activities, because the majority of the activities take place on one day during the sailing. And this is the same with Very Merry and with Marvel Day at Sea and Star Wars Day at Sea. They're literally a day of the cruise. So if you're planning to book a Halloween on the High Seas or any other type of specialty cruise, and you're hoping that it's going to be all Halloween all the time, and you're going to wear a different costume every day, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I guess you can.
There's nothing stopping you from doing it.
Right.
You're on vacation and in international waters.
Right.
So
you do what you got to do to be you, but the actual events will take place on one day.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're on most itineraries, and all the cruise ships do host a Halloween on the high seas. Unlike
Right.
Marvel, only
Right.
certain
Certain
ships,
itineraries
right.
have that option.
Exactly. So some of the things that you'll find on Halloween at the high seas, activities for the kids, which Olivia would love this, making costumes, making masks, carving pumpkins, lots of all the traditional fun fall Halloweenish type activities.
And you might find an activity or two like that scattered throughout your stay, but there will be one day that's designated as your Halloween day.
Yes. And of course, we're talking about Halloween, so there's going to be trick-or-treating. I'm curious of how that happens. Like,
I'm too.
Wouldn't it be cool, like, to each
We'll
room?
let you know next year.
Like, if each room could have trick-or-treat at a certain time, so you could go visit a certain section of the ship, and then you could hand out candy?
That would be fun.
But I don't know. We don't
I
know
have
if
a feeling it's probably in the shops.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's the shops because it would encourage you to go there and shop.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was just thinking about how to get more candy. So how to get the most candy. There's meet and greets. So I believe your characters will be dressed in their Halloween costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And of course there's Halloween games, and the Disney cruise ships are known for their dance parties. So of course there's going to be Halloween dancing parties.
And this all takes place at the family Halloween party,
Mm-hmm.
which last year, I don't know if this is consistent every year or not, but last year was called Mickey's Masquerade.
Yes.
So that's what you're looking for on your navigator, which you actually receive daily on your Disney cruise ship, and it's in a nice color, but it looks something like this, where it highlights the big activities of the day. And then on the actual, they give you an actual grid that shows the timing of everything that's happening throughout the day, where it's at, and who's eligible to go. Because there are a lot of things that sound really fun on these ships that are kids only.
It's true.
But with that being said, there's actually an adult-only costume party with a costume contest.
Oh.
So don't hold back. Adults with their costumes.
Sweet. The family Halloween party actually takes place 2 times on the Halloween day. It's 11 on this particular sailing. There was one at 11:30 in the morning and one at 5 in the evening. So if you have an early dinner seating, you can go to the one in the morning, and if you have the late dinner seating, you can go to the one in the evening. Or you can go twice, or do whatever you want. You're on vacation. There is a Halloween on the High Seas T-shirt and pin that are available for the event, which you've got to have. I mean, let's see. The drinks of the day, of course, are themed, and they're themed to whatever the day's theme is. Sorry, that was terrible.
Another cool activity I thought was really neat is the Nightmare Before Christmas Sing and Scream. So it's actually an interactive movie experience. So I don't know if it's how they get you involved in the Nightmare Before Christmas.
I don't know, but I can't watch that movie without singing along.
But I'm just envisioning it maybe like the Frozen sing-along, kind of, something like that. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly.
That would be fun.
And then, of course, there's a meet and greet with Jack and Sally. Because there's no Disney Halloween party without Jack and Sally. So.
Not anymore. There's also an event called the Pumpkin Tree, which is the story behind Halloween, and that's actually the headliner event. On the particular sailing that I pulled the navigator for, that was the headliner event. But I'm guessing one ship's about the same as the other for this event, because they're not going to. Well, if you went on one Halloween on the High Seas cruise and your friend went on another one, and you get back and compare notes and they're not the same, somebody's not going to be happy. So I think this is a pretty homogenous product across all the ships. Of course, depending on how long your sailing is, you may experience all of these activities, or they may scale them back just a little bit just because of time constraints. For example, if you're taking a 3-day cruise to the Bahamas on the Disney Dream, or you're taking the Panama Canal cruise, which is like 14 days. Yeah. Obviously, they can get a little bit more in depth with what they're doing on the Panama Canal. Maybe they even do a second day. I haven't looked at a navigator for that, so I'm not 100% on it. But possibly you could see like more time with the characters and the costumes and things like that. But the core activities are going to be pretty similar from one sailing to the next.
Another activity is Haunted Stories by the Sea, which is a campfire style storytelling, which I think that sounds really cool.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
And that on this particular sailing that I checked was on a different day. That was on, like, this particular one was a 7-day. The Saturday, the sail away, and the Sunday were both normal, regular ship stuff. Then Monday was the Halloween on the High Seas. Tuesday was a day in port, and it was their Pirate Night, which Pirate Night is on at least every cruise in the Caribbean, because it's pirates in the Caribbean. Which kind of feeds into the Halloween theme, so even though it's not particular for Halloween on the High Seas, it kind of supports the theme, so it's kind of nice to have it there. And then Wednesday was Haunted Stories of the Sea, and then Thursday and Friday we're back to regular cruising. So they did spread it out a little bit, but the really, like, the costume part and everything was all on one day.
I think they need to fix that.
Honestly, I think it's good, because there are a lot of families that don't celebrate Halloween, and in fact, like, avoid all things Halloween. And I actually had one of those families do a Halloween on the High Seas cruise, not because they were trying to, obviously, but it was just when it was the best for their schedule to cruise. So they booked Halloween on the High Seas, and I was like, you do realize there's going to be, like, some costumes and some trick-or-treat and stuff, and they're like, yeah, we'll just deal with it. And they said it was really not obtrusive at all. Yeah, like, it was, obviously the theming was around, but it wasn't, because it's Disney. It's not like the ghouly, scary, like, it's not about the, like, horror
spooky,
makeup.
Not scary.
Right, exactly. It's like fun. It's pumpkin Halloween. It's not haunted house Halloween.
Right.
So, I think you could book, unless you're, like, really, really, really super morally opposed to Halloween, you could book this cruise and not be, like, oh my gosh, it's going to be Halloween all the time, It's kind of like going to the parks when Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween is happening. Like, if you don't buy a ticket to the party, like, what you see in the park all day is pumpkins.
Fall.
It's general fall with maybe a little bit of spooky here and there. Like, nothing that's, like, in your face and would probably make you uncomfortable. Same kind of deal here.
Very good.
So, anything else we should talk about Halloween on the High Seas? That's all I have. It's not a huge thing. It's just a little extra. And like I said, they do have. We'll do Mickey's. Holidays on the High Seas is the other one. So we'll talk about that at a later date when it becomes relevant for the season.
We actually got to do that one, right?
We did that one. Yep. And I thought there was some stuff on that was actually really cool that I'm excited to talk about. But
save it for the other cast.
Yeah, but we'll save it for that night. So that's really all we have for segment tonight. News is good. So we're on to our...
News is bad, but
news is terrible, but news is done. Yeah, yeah. We're on to our fun fact, which is about the Sherman Brothers. And if you're not familiar with the Sherman Brothers, you probably are and just don't know it, because they wrote such fabulous classics as It's a Small World, It's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow from the Carousel of Progress, and they wrote all of the songs for Mary Poppins, among like 40 million other things that they've done. And the Sherman Brothers, Walt Disney was quite taken with them, and he's actually the one that gave them a chance to do Mary Poppins, even though they'd really never done a movie. And he was like, this is the biggest film I've ever wanted to do, so I'll take those guys. they'll be fine. Anyway, his particular favorite song from that film was Feed the Birds. And he actually would invite the Sherman Brothers into his office every Friday afternoon at 5:30, and they would play the song for him. And it got to the point where it became such a routine that he would just say, boys, play the song. And they knew what he meant. They actually played that song for him every day at 5:30 for 4 years. actually, they played it every day for 4 years. They actually continued playing every day at 5:30 for 2 years after he passed away. Every Friday. So just a little nod to the Sherman Brothers tonight. And one of whom is actually still living, and he speaks at D23 pretty regularly. Richard Sherman is still living. Bob passed away several years ago, but definitely Disney legends to the nth degree. You'll find them on a window on Main Street, and you'll hear their sounds all around the park. So anyway, that does it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. Like I said, next week we will be posting our Norwegian show. The following week we'll be posting our Princess show, and then we'll be back live with you on the 29th for a look at the Magic Behind the Steam Trains tour at Disney World. And hopefully we'll have a lot of news to tell you about by then, because we're not going to see you for 3 more weeks. So remember to watch some live shows for Boston, Canada, New England. We'll be sharing some information about that, and we'll see you real soon.
Hi, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, guys. Good night. People in Florida, stay safe.
Yes.